Because I got scales.
Wham. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Monday Night Live.
The best night of the week.
Best night of the week. It looks like we're still waiting over here for this one to get started.
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
I
should be.
Yeah, we'll try. Hopefully we came up right now.
Oh, there we go. I think.
Welcome again, everybody, to Monday Night Live. Kate Semmens, the lovely Kate Semmens, as always. Dean Nixon. Turning Leaf, we are so excited to join you tonight and to get into our topic. But first, man, it is so beautiful out.
Yeah, oh my gosh, my heart can't sing anymore.
I felt so bad. I know I'm always harping on the weather, but you got to understand, people, weather is a big thing to me. I love the outdoors, and I love that the buds are already showing up on the trees. I know we're going to get psyched out. I know we'll probably get a heavy snowstorm or something crazy.
I cannot even handle that just came out of your mouth. You put that out there.
I love the weather. Anyway, so we are super excited that it is warm out.
And I just have to say, I love all of you who love winter. I really do.
Oh, bless your
hearts. I'm just going to need you to love it a little bit shorter, okay? Because those of us that literally could live in summer all year long.
Yeah, 105,
we start to struggle right about now.
Bring it. I love 105.
But yeah, spring on the spring. I love it.
Yes. So we are excited.
There's your weather update from St. George, Utah.
So as everybody's tuning in, we love talking about these topics, and we especially love individuals that are throwing topics out to us and giving us ideas of things that they love to hear about. And so thank you for that. Thank you for interactions. Thank you for talking. We try and acknowledge you as best we can. Tonight's topic is such a fun one. It came back to us. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yes, just one that never grows old, actually. Just keeps circling back around and
keeps on giving.
Is still relevant.
Keeps on giving. And so we thought we'd kick it off. It is talking about our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. You know, this is such an important topic for us to really talk about, to really visit with, because I do believe a lot of people in our world right now are really leaning towards their comfort zones. Mm-hmm. Comfort zone, very human behavior, very human thing to do. Mm-hmm. We want to be comfortable. It's a beautiful thing to be comfortable. We are prone towards it. It's
our favorite place to be.
I think about all the times as a young man, the cars growing up. I always love to use this example. The cars growing up when I was a kid, they weren't like the most comfortable and the most luxurious. I just remember when Dad would turn the steering wheel, turn in a corner, we'd just go sliding across the back seat and then slide the other way. And it was just so different. But nowadays, our cars, we've got cooled seats, heated steering wheels. We've got all these luxuries. And it's because we as human beings really delve into being, comfortable. And the more that we are pushing to be comfortable physically in a lot of ways, we're also doing the same emotionally.
Absolutely, 100%. I love the analogy that you bring up here too, Dean, because I just kind of had an aha, because we've talked about this just a few times over the last almost year and a half that we've been doing lives. Can you believe it?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. But I was just thinking about the manufacturers and the inventors and everybody that worked in that car industry to create those things.
Right.
And when they were in that creation space, that's not the comfort zone, right?
Right.
That's the growth zone. They're trying things out. It's not working. It is working. This part kind of fits, but not really. And then all of a sudden, ta-da, we have air conditioning.
Ta-da. Thank the Lord. Because I've driven across the desert with no air conditioning when I was a boy.
God bless 1985 station wagons. That's all I have to say.
85? Try 65.
Hey.
All right.
We're dating ourselves.
We're dating ourselves. So it is one of those things that it is about being more and more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I love how you identify that as just as hard as we work to create and be creative in that creative space, we work just as hard to be creatively comfortable emotionally.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Nixon, because he always does.
That's not true.
I give you permission.
Thank
I
you.
ask for it all the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with spending a little bit of like, kick back, relax, enjoy the comfort zone for a minute before you get back into that growth zone in that workplace. Like, we gotta have some time. Isn't that what spring and summer is all about? I mean, if we're gonna loop it all in together today.
Yes and no. Yes
right?
and no. This is the part that I'll jump
that we
in
want
on.
to talk about.
I'll wade in on. There is a difference between comfort zone emotionally and being comfortable in creating that space for yourself.
Right.
So here's the difference. A comfort zone is all about avoidance. A comfort zone is all about avoiding discomfort, avoiding emotional pain and discomfort that we don't want to feel. So when you talk about sometimes we need to recoup, sometimes we need to catch a breath, sometimes that is the growth zone too.
True.
Because sometimes the comfort zone is just to keep grinding. And some of us are that way. Right here.
On Face or Instagram, they couldn't see.
So it's this way. I'll keep grinding. That's a comfort zone for me. Work. Mm-hmm. That's a comfort zone for me. So sometimes stepping out and taking a beat, taking a knee, taking a breath is stepping out of that comfort zone. So yes, we do need to recoup. We do need to rejuvenate. We do need to take care of ourselves. But that's not comfort zone.
Right.
Comfort zone is the box that keeps us limited from being who we truly are.
Ooh, say that again for all the people in the back.
The box that keeps us limited from becoming truly who we are.
Right. So it's when we start to avoid, right? And use those coping skills, those avoidance skills, right? That put us into our comfort zone is very different than sitting back, recognizing your hard work, taking an R&R before you get back at the grind.
Back at the grind. And it's different for all of us. Some of us are because our personalities are different. So for some people, we are prone towards avoidance, and some of us are prone towards control. And so a person stepping out of their comfort zone, for example, a person that's prone towards control, again, this guy here, that's prone towards, okay, it's stressful, let's solve it, let's fix it, let me take control. So stepping out of my comfort zone would be to be more accepting and letting go, taking a beat, taking a knee. Where somebody that may be more prone towards avoidant behaviors may need to get out of their comfort zone by engaging in life and engaging in solving problems, engaging in communicating, engaging in moving forward. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100%. So you guys all know, because I like self-disclose this all the time, but I'm like a personality development junkie.
My self-disclosure.
Right. You've been disclosing a lot this evening.
I have.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I'm just sitting here doing some self-reflection because and maybe you guys are a lot like me. I can see where I am avoidant, aka 2 years in a row that I went to Florida for every month. And also on the control side, right? So there is that duality in us. I agree. I think like a lot of things, we have a tendency to lean one way more heavily, but you really, when you start looking at it, you need to see what behaviors you're doing and what things you slide into, and if it is avoidant or if it's control.
Yeah, 100%. And I appreciate that, because there are those that it can be situational.
Absolutely.
Yeah, situationally, I can get into an argument. I want to drive the argument. I want to control the argument. Or maybe it's with a certain person or individual that I don't want to argue with, so I just slip towards avoidance. And so getting out of the comfort zone can be different in each. The first one, where I'm trying to control, may be letting go and accepting. Where I'm avoiding, may be stepping forward and doing the uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I do appreciate that perspective.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome too. Oh, so the trick then is to spend as much time as we can in the growth zone.
Right.
So maybe let's talk about the growth zone a little bit, because I don't know if we've really talked about the growth zone a lot.
Not yet.
On our lives.
Maybe not.
I mean, we've talked about like ways to be in it, coping skills to use, activities to do, that kind of stuff to be in there, but not really like what it looks like.
Yeah.
Pack your bags. We're going to the growth zone today.
The growth zone. The best way I can explain the growth zone is a couple ways. Number one, the easiest way to explain is when we stop avoiding. And we start facing the uncomfortable things, but not just the uncomfortable things, but we stop avoiding and we engage in life. And this is something that's so hard for people to recognize the difference between. Because a lot of times we as human beings, we spend a lot of time disengaged.
Absolutely.
And the minute I step into, I get onto my computer and I start working on a spreadsheet or I start working on something, I'm not engaged. I'm somewhere else. I'm in my head. I'm working through something. Or if I'm working with other individuals or doing things where I'm just not engaged.
Right.
I'm not engaged in being in the moment that I'm in. And so when I stop avoiding, now let me back up. Some of the not being engaged is purpose driven, and I'm not saying it's unhealthy. So if I'm working and I'm into a spreadsheet and I'm really working on designing or creating something, then that's not an unhealthy thing.
Right.
It's not an avoidance. It's not that I'm in my comfort zone. It's that I'm just not engaged. Now
sometimes too, like when I consider myself, and in that like juju word of in flow, right? Like if I'm in flow creatively, I'm probably not very present. I mean, I may be in that moment, but I'm like in creation, right? Like I've got my vision. I'm like busting out all sorts of stuff,
Now
like
that to me would be engaged.
That would be engaged.
Yeah, because if you're in your creative flow, now I'm not talking, and this is where it gets really.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
These lights are lighting up. I can just see my rosacea kicking in. Sorry.
It is getting warm in here. And it is. But if you're in the creation flow, that's different than me sitting and getting work done.
Just in the grind?
Right. If I'm in the grind,
Okay,
I'm getting work done. Thank you for clarifying. If I'm just working, I'm getting work done. I'm working to get things out of the way. All the things that I've got to get done, right? So that in and of itself is not really engaged in life. Now, for some of us, it might be a comfort zone. For some of us, it may be just being disengaged. But if I'm in the creation flow, that means I'm in the space I'm in. That means I'm right here, right now. And that's when we're in the growth zone. When we are present in the current situation, when we are in the moment that we're in, where we are learning, growing, and progressing, that's the growth zone. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I love it because we, just a shout out to Girl I Got You. That was our focus 2 weeks ago, was to be in the now, be in the present. And so it's a skill. And I love that word practice. I'm like really leaning into that word practice with meditation and yoga and all those kinds of things, because I don't know, you guys, I'm not of the belief system that I'm ever going to get like perfect at that, right? Like I'm never going to, well, never say never. I heartily believe that I'm going to get perfect at being 100% present in every moment. I hope I can figure it out and get there.
And if I could throw in, perfection is momentary, right? There is perfect moments, but there is not this state of being of perfection. Sure. So and I think that's what you're saying.
I agree. In those moments when you are present and you are in the now and you're in the growth zone and you're in flow and you're loving it, it's perfect right then. Yeah. But I would also agree, Dean, that even when you're not in the growth zone and you're in straight avoidance, you're still perfect. Because I'm going to love you so hard in that state.
I'm going to love you no matter what. And we are perfectly imperfect, as we hear, that goes around a lot. And we are that way as human beings.
But the idea of perfection.
The idea of perfection, that's again. I mean, we talked about the idea of perfection as a construct, and why we try to be perfect is to avoid discomfort, etc. But going back to
that control piece.
It is about control.
Were just talking about.
As soon as I can remove discomfort, as soon as I can avoid feeling what I don't want to feel, it's perfect.
Yes.
But the problem is that, and I see it every day. I see people every day that are constantly struggling with this arrival point, where I'm going to be happy when I make this much money. I'm going to be happy when I find this soulmate. I'm going to be happy when I have this on my mantle award, and you're not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Arrival. You're not, because that's not the way life's meant to be. Life is not about arriving somewhere. Life is about the journey to somewhere. And really, it's truly, the life is about the journey to your end. And from birth to end, it's your story. And my journey is from the moment I am born and I take my first breath to the moment I pass and take my last breath. That's my journey.
Yeah.
And that's my arrival point. If you're like, I am going to get to an arrival point. I remember working with a psychologist once, and he spooked me. He scared the heck out of me. He's like, I have arrived. And I was like, oh, wow, that is a huge belief about yourself that limits so much of life. Like from there forward, everything is essentially, everything beyond here means nothing.
So death is the arrival.
So the reality is,
I like that.
Death is really the arrival point. That's the truth. And everything in between is the journey. We have moments of perfection in, but the only way to truly experience all of it is to be present in the moment that we're in.
I absolutely love that. In fact, I was talking about it today in a coaching session with one of my clients, and I'm going to put this picture in the comments below and on all the feeds, so just look for it. But have you seen that meme that's like, your path, and it's like what you idealize it as? It's like somebody riding a little bicycle just up this nice little steady mountain to this like finish flag, right? And then it's like what it's actually like, and there's like a big pit with water in it and crocodiles and like a tightrope that you have to like bicycle across, this like tightrope across a ravine, like, because that's life. That's reality.
It is.
And I think it's just really good perspective. Like, we expect it to be this like, and you know, I'm an optimistic realist, so I'm going to put a little bit of an incline on my nice little path, right? But there surely isn't any mountains or like ravines or gullies with crocodiles in it, but that is what it is.
Yeah. And it is so interesting how we work to be perfect and work to avoid. And that's the part that's so interesting to me, and I love it, is the idea of making the journey more difficult. And the way we make the journey more difficult is we allow fear to be in the passenger seat. And you know, and I love the seven spiritual laws by Deepak.
Yes.
Kate referred to me, and I love this quote in there where Deepak, and I'm going to mess it up here, but he's talking. Sorry, but he's talking about the amount of energy it takes to be in fear as compared to the amount of energy it takes to be in love. And so the idea of being perfect, or the idea of doing everything perfect, takes so much energy because that's a fear-based belief system.
Absolutely.
And so you're driving and you've got fear in the passenger seat, and it's just taking up all your energy.
Just imagine when you were learning to drive a car and you've got your parents sitting in the passenger seat, just like all the time. Like, that's a really good visual.
I did that to my kids. Made them a really good driver. But it is one of those things. And so when we get into our growth zone, when we step into that now, that space of now, where we're fully engaged, where we're really engaged and we're participating in life, whether it has ups or downs, whether it is a disaster or whether it is the most blissful moment of your life, if you are fully engaged in that process and in that moment, you are in your growth zone. But any deviation from that takes us into our comfort zones. And those comfort zones are what really keep us from moving forward, because we're not learning in there.
Right.
We're not learning to deal with things. I'm just powering through and grinding work out and grinding my life out.
Yes.
And it's so intriguing to watch people when they get 60, 70 years old and they're scratching their heads looking back going, man, what did I miss? You know, what did I miss? I was so busy avoiding this. I was so busy avoiding that. And I hear it all the time. People talking to me about everything they avoided. But if you're avoiding all the things that scare you, if you're avoiding all the things that are hard, you're avoiding all the beauty and you're avoiding all the joy too.
Absolutely.
Because the only way to experience joy and happiness and serenity on those things is to experience anger, hurt, pain, stress, etc. And we're living in this world where everybody's trying to avoid anxiety, like anxiety is the buzzword now. And so we're trying to create these padded spaces. We're wrapping people in bubble wrap. We're trying to create safe spaces. And the reality is, as a consequence of that, now I'm not saying it's not unhealthy to create bully-free areas. I'm not saying it's unhealthy to create sensitivity and acceptance of other people. I'm not talking about that.
No.
I'm talking about creating a space where it's okay to be uncomfortable. And by being uncomfortable, I actually am growing. And I'm learning to self-manage. I'm learning to self-soothe. I'm learning to self-monitor. And that's the stuff that's not happening, because when you go to the bubble wrap side of life, you go to this open permissiveness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now there's nothing off limits. And you know what happens when nothing's off limits?
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff happens. It just gets crazy, and it becomes super unhealthy. And all of a sudden people are doing things. It's like, well, I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. I was feeling this way. I was feeling that way. And so I just figured I'd do this, and it should be okay, because it's like, I guess that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. That's not for me. But is it healthy for you?
Right. Did it work for you?
Yeah, that's different. So, hey, CJ, say hello.
I absolutely love it. Here's just an idea, and I'm not going to, because we're out of time, but I saw this on, I think it was A Million Little Things last week, or maybe This Is Us, because those are the only shows I watch. But there was this conversation between an adult and a kid, and the kid was kind of like anxious and nervous about performing or something like that. And the quote went something like, sometimes it's really difficult to tell the difference between being excited and being anxious. And so I choose to view it as being excited. And now if you really wrestle with anxiety and you have that situation going on for you, I'm not discrediting that in your journey at all. And just flip your, like, I'm not painting in rose-colored glasses and saying, just pretend like you're really excited. But I think for kids a lot, it is that like anxious, nervous excitement, right? And we just put this label on it as this debilitating thing called anxiety, when it could just be, this is a little bit scary, and I'm a little bit excited, and
I'm a little anxious or nervous, and being nervous is okay. Yeah, being nervous. Anxiety is different than nervous. Yes.
Or excited.
Yes.
But they all tend to feel a little bit the same.
Yes.
You know? Oh, guys, we've had so much fun.
We're getting some good comments here, and I appreciate it. One quick comment was, can we be addicted to the growth zone? And if I'm addicted to anything, it's actually a comfort zone. It becomes a comfort zone. The minute it becomes an addiction, it's actually a comfort zone. So I can become addicted to self-help. I can use self-help as my comfort zone, but it's become a comfort zone at that point. So I wish I could answer it more. We are way out of time, but thank you, everybody.
Maybe we'll talk about it next Monday Night Live.
Ooh, I like that. So like and share our videos. Please talk about the topics around the water cooler and the kitchen table.
The water cooler.
Water cooler. And we will see you all next week on
Monday Night Live.
I'll go high.
I'll go low. Bye, guys. Have a great week.